He stood there, fists clenched, sweat freezing on his skin, while she stared him down like he was nothing but a number on her payroll. Please, her voice didn't shake. It's sliced. Just make it fast. The single dad swallowed the fear burning in his throat. She thought this was easy for him? That stripping away his dignity was just a transaction? No. This was survival. A child's life hung in the balance. His little girl was waiting at home, trusting that her daddy would come back with something to keep them safe, to keep her from being taken away again, to keep a roof over their heads for one more night. He had already lost everything else. The CEO, Elena Ward, leaned back in her leather chair. Dark, polished office. Midnight city lights flickering behind her. She didn't blink, didn't breathe. She just waited for him to obey. He unbuttoned his jacket slowly. Every click echoed in his skull like a countdown. One wrong move, and I'm thrown out. One wrong breath, and she'll destroy me. One mistake, and who takes care of Harper? I need proof you're desperate enough, Elena whispered, voice dipped in ice. I don't hire men who hesitate. He wasn't supposed to hesitate, but humiliation strangled his lungs. He kept hearing Harper's voice from that morning. Daddy, are they coming to take me away again? No, he wouldn't allow that. Not again. He shrugged off the jacket, and everything changed. Hey there, welcome to another heartwarming story that will have you swooning from start to finish. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I really hope you join the family. If not, please hit that like button, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Your support means everything to me. Elena's eyes widened, for the first time, not with cruelty, but disbelief. Scars. Black, violent, brutal scars across his ribs and shoulder. Not fresh, but deep. Carved into memory. Scars you don't get in bar fights. Scars you earn in war. Scars that tell stories he refused to speak. The room's confidence shifted. Suddenly, she was the one swallowing. What happened to you? Her voice cracked ever so slightly. But he didn't answer. Not yet. He couldn't give her the truth because the truth was a graveyard he had buried himself in. A truth that could ruin both of them. So he simply said, will you give me the job or not? Elena stood, a goddess wrapped in perfection, and walked slowly around him. Studying. Calculating. Almost afraid. You're dangerous. A father, he corrected. The corner of her lip twitched. Amusement or alarm, he couldn't tell. She stopped behind him, close enough that he could feel her breath ghost across the scars. You think that makes you safe? She murmured. No, he replied. It makes me determined. A beat of silence. Then she stepped in front of him, eyes locking onto his. I like determined men, she said softly. But I like loyal ones more. He stiffened. I'm loyal to my daughter. That's not what I asked. Her smile turned razor thin. I need loyalty to me. There it was. The real price. He couldn't afford to say no. Fine, he whispered. You have it. Her fingers brushed over one of his scars. He flinched, not from pain, from memory. You've already bled for someone else, she breathed. Now you'll bleed for me if I ask. Before he could respond, her desk phone buzzed. Elena didn't break eye contact as she answered. Yes. Pause. Send them up. She hung up, still staring him down. You're starting tonight, she said. But there's a complication. Of course there was. She walked back to her desk, heels striking like warning shots. My father, she continued, was murdered 3 weeks ago, and the board believes a rival company ordered it. They think someone inside helped. She pointed a perfectly manicured finger at him. I hired you to protect me, to keep me alive long enough to expose the traitor. A new open loop slammed into his chest. This wasn't just a job. This was a trap. A battlefield disguised as an office. You should know something before you commit, she added. Her voice lowered into something chilling. They already tried to kill me once. They won't hesitate again. His pulse stumbled. He thought this would be security work, guarding doors and escorting a CEO, not getting caught in corporate blood wars. But Harper's face shoved every fear aside. What do I have to do, he asked. Everything I tell you, she whispered. The elevator chimed. Footsteps. Heavy. Intentional. Elena's eyes narrowed. Be quiet. Don't move. 2 men stepped inside. Tall, identical suits, faces carved from stone. They scanned him with unearned authority. Is this him? One asked. Yes, Elena replied. Calm. Controlled. Lying. He's my new assistant. Assistant. Not bodyguard. Not protector. Assistant. The word slapped his pride, but he stayed silent. You really think a man like him can handle corporate work? the other scoffed. Elena's gaze turned deadly. I think a man like him can make people regret questioning me. The guards backed down instantly. He understood something about her then. Power wasn't spoken. It radiated. As soon as the men left, Elena walked closer again. Not intimate. Just close enough to remind him who owned the floor they stood on. You're going to live in the company penthouse, she said. You'll be where I can reach you at any time. I can't, he said quickly. I have a daughter. Bring her. Just like that. No hesitation. His heart hammered. This was too fast, too dangerous. But she continued. I don't care about your personal life. But if someone is targeting me, she lifted his chin with a finger. They'll target what you love, too. His knees nearly buckled. She was right. He knew she was right. Is she safe right now? Elena asked. Harper. His girl. Alone. Unprotected. No, he admitted. Elena nodded toward the door. Then what are you still doing here? He grabbed his jacket and headed out. But before he left, she added one more thing. And assistant, she called. He turned. Don't make me regret choosing you. Their eyes collided. Threat, respect, and something too dangerous to name. He walked away, lungs shaking. He didn't know if he had just saved his daughter or signed both of their death sentences. As the elevator doors closed, his phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. We know where she is. Don't take the job. His blood froze. Another message arrived instantly. You can't protect her from what's coming. He stared at the screen, heart cracking open. Who were they? And how did they know about Harper? He slammed the emergency stop button on the elevator. If they had already reached her, he might already be too late. He burst out of the elevator the second the doors opened, ignoring the startled looks from employees heading home. His legs burned as he sprinted through the lobby and out into the icy night. He didn't think. He couldn't. Harper. He ran for the bus stop like every second was a threat stalking his daughter. Traffic lights bled neon red across the pavement. Each step felt like he was racing death itself. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You can't hide her forever. He shoved the phone away before panic shut his lungs completely. His hands trembled as he waited for the bus, a metal coffin moving too slow through the city. He couldn't afford panic. Panic gets you killed. Panic gets kids taken. He forced himself to breathe through a choking throat. The bus finally stopped. He jumped on, breath fogging the air. People stared. He didn't care. All he could hear was Harper's voice. The soft whimper when she was scared. The way she clung to him at night. The way she said, Daddy, like it was the only word she ever needed. He texted his neighbor, Mrs. Collins, the elderly woman who watched Harper after school. Is Harper okay? Please answer. Now. Dots appeared, then disappeared, then nothing. His stomach twisted so violently he thought he might collapse. The ride felt endless. Every delay, every stoplight, every pedestrian crossing was a reminder. Someone out there knew where his little girl slept. By the time he reached the apartment, he was drenched in fear. He sprinted up the stairs 2 at a time, key shaking in the lock. The door creaked open. Silence. Too quiet. He dropped everything and ran straight for Harper's room. There she was, small, curled up under the blankets, thumb near her mouth, breathing soft and steady. Safe. He collapsed to his knees, a broken sound escaping him, something too raw to name. He pressed his forehead against the side of her bed and let the fear drain into the floor. She stirred, sleep-heavy eyes blinking. Daddy, she whispered. He smiled, or tried to, and kissed her forehead. It's okay. I'm here. You smell like running, she mumbled. He almost laughed, almost cried. He pulled the blanket up higher around her tiny body. His phone buzzed again, this time Mrs. Collins. Sorry, dear, I fell asleep. She's fine. Everything okay? No, nothing was okay. He typed. Thank you. I've got her now. He stood and double-locked the door. Heart still racing. Mind still burning. He needed to leave. Tonight. But Harper didn't know what she was walking into. A luxury penthouse. No, a war zone. He returned to her room and brushed curls from her forehead. Harper, he whispered. Wake up, honey. We need to go on a little adventure. She rubbed her eyes and sat up. Is it a scary adventure? He hesitated. Daddy will keep you safe. Always. She nodded, trusting him like only a child can. He packed the few essentials they owned, one worn suitcase, a stuffed rabbit missing an ear, her tiny boots, a drawing she made of the 2 of them holding hands. He carried her downstairs, her arms wrapped around his neck. Outside, the snow had begun to fall. Soft, Quiet. A cruel contrast to the terror ripping through him. A black SUV slid to the curb, tinted windows, like it had been waiting. His grip tightened around Harper. The back window rolled down. Elena Ward. Perfect. Untouchable. A queen stepping out of a nightmare. She didn't look surprised to see him. I thought you might need a ride. He hugged Harper tighter. How did you? I told you. Her voice was low. Dangerous. If I can't reach you at any time, you're useless to me. That wasn't comfort. That was ownership. But then Harper looked at her, small, curious, head resting on his shoulder. Elena's expression shifted. Just a flicker. Softness. Concern? Something she didn't allow herself often. Hi, Harper whispered shyly. Elena blinked, like she wasn't prepared for innocent eyes. Hello, she replied quietly. For the first time, Elena Ward looked human. Get in, she ordered. Before someone else gets to you first. He hesitated. Someone sent me messages. They knew about her. That's why I'm here. She tilted her head. Because this game started long before you arrived. Not comforting, but honest. He buckled Harper into the SUV. She hugged her rabbit tight, eyes wide in the dark interior. He slid in next to her. Elena locked the doors with a soft click that sounded like a cage closing. You're going to tell me everything, she said, eyes on the road as her driver pulled away. I don't know anything, he snapped. You know enough that someone wants to scare you, she replied. People don't waste threats on nobodies. He hated the truth in her words. Those scars, she continued, voice softer. They weren't an accident. Whoever gave them to you, they're not finished. He swallowed hard. His past, the one he tried to bury, clawed its way back up. You asked me what happened, he said slowly. Do you really want to know? Elena turned her head, just enough to meet his eyes. I want to know everything that can get us killed. He looked down at Harper, fast asleep again, unaware of danger curling around them like smoke. He finally exhaled. I was a soldier. Special operations. Then I became something else. A ghost. A cleanup tool nobody wanted to admit existed. Elena studied him like she was memorizing each word. And you walked away? She asked. They made me, he said. After my wife died, I had Harper to protect. Elena's eyes flicked toward the little girl, a hint of softness flickering, then sinking into something stern. And whoever you worked for, she said, now wants you back. He nodded once. They don't care how many bodies they step over to get what they want. Elena leaned back, exhaling a curse under her breath. Perfect. Another enemy to add to the list. Then she added, almost to herself. No wonder they recommended you. He stiffened. Recommended? Who? She didn't answer. Not directly. Someone in my father's inner circle, she said. Someone who clearly didn't have his best interests at heart. His pulse spiked. You think I'm connected to his murder? She smirked. Oh, I don't think. I know you're connected. I just don't know how yet. The air froze. So what happens now? He asked. She turned toward him fully, lips close enough to steal his breath. Now, she said, we find out whether you're the weapon they sent to kill me. Her hand brushed Harper's tiny sleeping hand. Or the one fate sent to save me. He couldn't answer. Because for a split second, even he wasn't sure. The SUV climbed toward gleaming towers, leaving the broken part of the city behind. Unknown number. Turn back now. The girl dies first. Comment below if you're swooning right now. And if you want to see how this story continues, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Trust me, the drama is just getting started. His phone screen glowed like a bomb. He didn't let Elena see it. Because suddenly he realized something terrifying. Someone wasn't trying to stop him from protecting Elena. Someone was trying to stop him from getting closer to her. The SUV reached the gated entrance of the company penthouse. Two worlds colliding. One wrong choice away from destruction. He followed Elena into the glass fortress of her penthouse, like someone walking into a trap that smelled faintly of safety. The elevator hummed up. Harper slept against his shoulder, tiny breaths warm and steady. He held her closer than he had all night. The lobby opened to marble and light. Cameras blinked like patient eyes. Men in suits nodded once. Two security guards flanked the private entrance. Elena moved with the confidence of someone who had rehearsed danger all her life. Inside, the penthouse was quieter than the city. Minimal, white, perfect. But tonight the space felt jagged, designed to cut anyone who'd try to step inside uninvited. Elena walked them through it like she was showing them a map of her own skin. You'll stay in the West Suite, she said. It's walled off with independent access. Food, nanny if you need it. Cameras feed directly to my phone. He scanned the room. It was more fortress than home. Still, his first thought, stupid and stubborn, was of a little bed with a child tucked inside. How long, he asked. As long as it takes, Elena replied. She meant it. Or she meant the deal she'd offered. Either way, both of them were bargaining with truth. A sharp knock broke the brief silence. Two men from security entered and bent toward Elena. Low voices. Quick words. She listened, face shuddering. Then she looked at him, really looked, and for a second the armor slipped. They traced the message, she said. It came from inside the city. Not a random scare text. Someone near you, or someone who knows you, pinged that line. This is personal. His stomach dropped. Someone who knew Harper. Someone who knew how to cut straight to the thing he loved most. Who, he asked. Elena didn't answer right away. Her jaw set like steel. We need to find the source. Tonight. He wanted to ask what that meant. Wanted to demand specifics. But Harper stirred, tiny eyelids fluttering. He smoothed her hair. She mumbled in half-sleep. Daddy? She asked, sleepy and innocent. He smiled like a man who hadn't slept in days. Yeah, love. Daddy's here. Elena watched them. She watched him the way a strategist watches the board. Quiet. Assessing. Then she stepped forward and lowered her voice. You didn't tell me everything this morning. It wasn't an accusation so much as a place carved into the conversation where danger could plant itself. He swallowed. I told you what you needed to know. Not enough. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small file. Photos. Grainy but identifiable. A man, his face half-hidden, meeting someone near his old unit. A woman's car with a dent matching the neighbor's bumper. The angles told a story. Elena placed one photo on the table. He recognized the street. His chest tightened. The neighbor's face stared back at him. A man who drank too late, who watched drift by the window with a soft edge of curiosity. The neighbor who had once mended a cracked fence for Harper. You think he asked. Elena didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Her eyes did the work. The implication landed like a stone. You're serious. I'm deadly serious, she said. You understood the risk when you took this. But hiding will not solve it. Her fingers tapped the photo. We expose them. We flush them. Whoever wants you scared will show their hand. He thought of sleeping children, of the neighbor who smiled at Harper in the hallway. Was it possible the friendly man had a darker ledger? People can hide whole lives under neighborly smiles. Elena cleared her throat. Her professional mask returned. We do a sweep. We check the feeds, call on people I trust. You stay with her until I say otherwise. He nodded. Inside, a pressure built. Part relief, part a new fear firing like splinters. He had wanted answers. Now he had a direction. Now he had work. Work meant purpose. Purpose meant survival. They moved fast. Elena's security team shifted into motion like a trained animal responding to scent. Screens flickered. Faces appeared and disappeared. Every angle of the building, every entrance, every footstep was a puzzle piece slid into place. A tech guy tapped a keyboard. There was a ping, he said. 2 blocks from his old complex. VoIP rerouted through 3 proxies. The nearest node belongs to a courier service, used for deliveries. Elena rubbed her temple. Check cameras 2 through 9. Loop on street-side feeds. The images scrolled. A man in a hood. A shadow exchanging a small package. The timestamp matched the text. The frame showed a vague silhouette, and then the neighbor's car pulling away. You can't be serious, the single dad muttered. Get his name, Elena ordered. I want a dossier. Now. Phones buzzed. Calls were made. Minutes passed. When the dossier landed in Elena's hand, his throat closed on the information. It was a name he'd heard once at a time he'd hoped to forget. Not a friend. Not a neighbor. A man who'd been at the edge of his life like a bad bruise. A man who'd called in favors for the wrong people. A man who remembered old debts. That guy, he said. Rage flared. It was a protective rage, pure and ugly. He's trouble. He knows people. He knows methods. He won't stop for anything. Elena's face read calm. Then we corner him. Tonight. A soft rap from the security door made them both look up. It was polite on the outside, someone asking for its due. But it felt like thunder. A guard opened the small hatch. A woman's voice came through. Delivery for Ms. Ward. Elena stepped forward. Her breath made no fog in the warm air. She accepted the package, neat brown paper sealed with tape. A courier left. The guard closed the hatch. Elena's fingers were steady. Her smile was automatic. She set the package on the table. He watched her as if she was a visible code he needed to crack. She opened it with mechanical precision. Nothing. A flashlight. A small card. On it, a single sentence, printed in block caps. "We see what you hold." The paper snapped on the table like a white gunshot. Elena's eyes narrowed into a thread of ice. She crumpled the paper in her hand, then let it fall folded and harmless as she handed Harper to him. "Take her upstairs," she said. Her voice carried a command wrapped in a plea. "Stay there until I come get you. Under no circumstances open the door for anyone. Not even me if you don't know the code." He scooped Harper like he was picking up the last living ember. Her arms wrapped around his neck. "I won't," he promised. She gave him one final look. A tiny tremor. "You're not alone in this." He watched her go. She melted into another woman, the CEO into the hunter. Cameras hummed like insects. Outside, the city breathed and moved. Inside, a package the size of a threat sat on a polished table. He carried Harper up the private stairs to the west suite. The room was clinical but warm. A small cot, a closet with a few children's books, a camera facing the bed. He tucked her in. He traced the outline of her hands with his thumb until she calmed into sleep. He set the baby monitor on the nightstand and watched the tiny chest rise and fall. The unknown number's words glowed in his mind. "Turn back now. The girl dies first." His phone chimed. A message from Elena. "Do not trust the neighbor. We found financial links. I'll be back in 10. Stay put." He didn't sleep. He sat on a chair that felt like the only thing keeping him vertical and stared at Harper. Every crease in blankets felt like evidence. Every silence an accusation. Hours passed. City lights blurred into a slow river of neon. At 3:17 a.m., a shadow moved outside the suite window. He pulled the curtain, heart pounding. Outside, a man in a dark coat was walking on the service lane. He paused by the alley, looked up at the building, then reached into his pocket. The silhouette fit the neighbor who'd come by with cookies. The silhouette fit the man in Elena's dossier. Someone pressed a small device to the glass of the lower balcony. A soft click. A tiny sensor. Not a bomb. Not yet. Just presence. Testing. He should have been a step ahead. He wasn't. His phone buzzed again. This time an unknown call. No number. No name. The screen read, "Unknown." He put the phone to his ear. A voice, mechanically deep, a whisper like paper-cut steel, said only one thing. "Tonight is the test. Fail, and you'll watch her die." The line went dead. Outside, the man slipped into the shadows of alleyways, content. Inside, he realized the trap had teeth. Real teeth. He reached for the nightstand drawer, and his fingers closed on cold metal. One move away. One decision. He pressed his back against the wall. He looked at Harper, sleeping like a promise. Then he looked at the door, and at the camera in the corner eyeing him like an audience. He had to choose how to fight. He had to choose fast. A soft creaking came from the hallway. Someone walked the corridor. Slow. Deliberate. A keycard clicked at the door outside his suite. He swallowed. The open loop vibrated in his chest. Who had the code? Who was inside the building? Who wanted to see Harper die? The handle turned. He gripped the metal in his palm tight enough to whiten his knuckles. A shadow moved under the door. He held his breath. The door swung inward. And the silhouette in the doorway was not what he expected. The figure stepped inside, illuminated by the hallway's dim security glow. Elena. But she wasn't dressed like the woman who'd left. The business steel was gone, replaced by black tactical fabric, hair tied back, a small cut on her lip, a fresh scrape across one cheek. She closed the door behind her fast, soundless, and pressed her finger to her lips. He lowered the weapon a fraction, confusion and relief twisting into a single messy breath. "What happened?" he whispered. "No time," she murmured. "There's someone inside the building who shouldn't be. Security is compromised." His pulse spiked, so hard he thought his heart might break through his ribs. "Where's your team? Dead or forced out of sight?" Her jaw tensed. "We've been infiltrated from the inside." They knew every blind spot. That sentence alone felt like a blade to the stomach. Harper shifted in the bed, soft sighs, small fingers curling around the blanket. Elena stepped closer and crouched beside the girl. She softened, just slightly. "They want leverage," she said quietly. "She is leverage." "Not for long," he snapped, voice shaking. She met his eyes. "I need you to trust me. Can you?" That was the wrong night to ask a man to trust. But Harper breathed, and that was all the answer he needed. He nodded. Elena reached into a hidden pocket and pulled out a slim black device. A script of numbers glowed on the screen. I tracked the neighbor's movements. Security logs confirmed he entered the building an hour ago, disguised under a courier ID. He's not just a stalker. He's working for someone you cut off years ago. His guts sank. The Kessler job, he muttered. That's the one. Her voice was dark thunder. You did the right thing back then, but somebody didn't forget. From beneath the suite door, a shadow paused. Someone sniffed the air like a wolf catching scent. Elena motioned for silence. The shadow retreated. He exhaled slowly. Barely. What do we do? Elena stood, moving like a woman who had rehearsed violence. We extract. My helicopter is on the roof. We go up 2 floors. Quiet. Fast. Stay behind me. She slung a small firearm from a hidden holster. The metal gleamed cold. When she turned the doorknob, he scooped Harper up. The little girl's head nestled against his neck, unaware that the world hunted her dreams. Elena poked her head into the hallway, gun raised. Clear, she whispered. They moved. Every step was a countdown. Every wall felt too thin. Halfway down the corridor, the emergency lights flickered. Once, twice, then died. Dark swallowed everything. Harper whimpered. Shoo, princess. Daddy's here. He whispered, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Elena's voice was a thread in the night. The generator was cut. They're pushing us toward. Glass shattered behind them. Footsteps rushed. Elena spun, firing 3 controlled shots. 2 bodies hit the ground. A third kept coming, dragging a leg. He recognized the limp. The neighbor. You should have left this alone, the man snarled, voice feral. Elena shot again. He fell to his knees, clutching his blood-soaked thigh, laughing as if pain was a joke only he understood. You think this is about you? He choked out. They want the girl. They. Elena silenced him with one more bullet. He stopped breathing. Harper buried her face in her dad's shoulder. He held her like she was made of something holy. Move. Elena barked, grabbing his free arm and pulling him toward the stairwell. They crashed upward, floor by floor, adrenaline burning like acid. His legs shook. Elena's breath grew ragged. A siren began to wail somewhere deep inside the building, a wolf's cry from the guts of steel. On the final landing before the roof access, Elena stopped and pressed her ear to the door. Silence. She eased it open. Cold air hit them first. The rooftops stretched wide, night wind cutting and thin. Spotlights on the edges glowed red. And there, near the helipad, stood a tall man in a charcoal coat. Hands in pockets. Calm. Too calm. Elena froze. I know that posture, she whispered. Harper whimpered again, sensing fear like a temperature drop. The man stepped forward, smile slow and venomous. Well, he drawled. The prodigal father returns. He recognized that voice instantly. Memories slammed into him. Debts, fists, a night where loyalty and fear took turns wearing the same mask. Kessler, he breathed. Kessler smiled. You ruined a multi-million-dollar operation. You thought we'd forget. He gestured lazily. We don't need you anymore. We only need what you protected. Harper. Every pulse in his body exploded with fury. I will not let you touch her, he said. The promise cut through the wind like a blade. Kessler spread his arms. Then die brave. That's fine with me. 2 men stepped from the shadows, guns raised. Elena moved first. 1 shot. 2 shots. Bodies dropped like marionettes losing strings. She pivoted, lethal, precise. Kessler's smile fell. He drew his own gun. Elena aimed directly at him. Wind roared between them. I warned you, she said. You don't get to threaten a child and walk away. Kessler fired. Elena fired. Silence broke like glass. Kessler stumbled backward, bullet carving his shoulder. His gun clattered across the rooftop. He fell to his knees, hand pressed to the wound, rage twisting into a snarl. You don't know who I work for, he spat. I don't care, she replied. The helicopter's rotors kicked on, deafening. Searchlights flared. 2 pilots waved urgently. He held Harper tighter and ran, following the gusts of wind. Then, a sound behind him. A single scraping footstep. Kessler lunged, knife outstretched, animalistic, eyes wide with murderous need. Time slowed. He swung the metal object in his hand, the same one he'd gripped in the suite, and drove it down with every father's fear turned violent. The knife clattered away. Kessler's body hit the ground. Breathless, Done. Elena grabbed him, hauled him the final steps. They climbed into the helicopter just as the door slammed shut. The city shrank beneath them. Harper slept through the takeoff, exhaustion claiming innocence again. He buried his face in her hair, every muscle trembling with the shock of survival. Elena sat across from him, hands shaking once, then hiding the shake beneath a steady exhale. He met her eyes through the roar of blades. "We're alive because of you," he said. She shook her head. "You're alive because you never stopped fighting for her." He looked down at Harper, tiny heartbeat, tiny breath, and swallowed the truth that nearly broke him. There was nothing he wouldn't do to save her again. The helicopter leveled into the winter night. The skyline gleamed like a million unkept promises. "What now?" he asked. Elena glanced at the horizon, unreadable, calculating, human all at once. "Now," she said, "I make sure they never come back for her." He didn't need details. He understood the vow in her voice. He understood the war she was about to start. Harper shifted in his arms and whispered through sleep. "Daddy." He kissed her forehead. Then, softly, almost like a prayer, "It's over now. I've got you." But deep down, he knew something else too. This was only the beginning. If this story made you feel all the feels, drop a heart emoji in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more swoon-worthy, heartwarming stories that will have you on the edge of your seat. Share this with your loving friends. And tell me, what should we name the next story? I have so many more where this came from. Until next time, goodbye.